and then they want an Igwe, because having autonomous community means you have to have an Igwe that is in charge of it. And then you look at what the function of this Igwe is, you don't see anything. You say tradition and culture. And some of them live very far away from the community. They don't even know about the culture they are talking about. You understand? So what is it that they are doing in the communities? It is not defined what their work is. It's very vague. Tradition and culture. How? Have you seen how in many places you don't see anything that happens in tradition and culture? So this is the matter that we are talking about, that is this really necessary? And then we come to the title that they take and the insignia, you know, the symbol. If you go to the Oba of Benin, everything you see in the house as our tradition is full of science, symbols and symbolisms. So what is the meaning of the crown? What do you have on the crown? What do you have on the insignia, what the person is holding in the hand? Does it accord with the tradition of the people? No. It is borrowed from things, science symbols that don't mean anything to the people. You just bring them,
Is that so? What's happening?
That's the way it is, yes.
I thought everything like that, I mean, all of them have meanings. And if you don't ask, you probably not know.
No, they should be able to explain it. We have looked at the symbols and we find out that they are basically not traditional. If you ask me from my own community, if you didn't have kings in the past, so where are you going to manufacture the symbols? You bring them from somewhere. And the names that have been answered, where are they coming from? So this I think this is not a well thought out policy. And this is what we should be talking about in the House of Assembly, talking about in in the town unions. What is it that is good for us? That is what we will do. It is not just that other people have kings.
Well, it's nearly impossible to even go back to the way it used to be, given that in this day and age, we have the government dictating the tune of what happens at the State House of Assembly, even down to the traditional institution.
That's what I say in Charles, that it should not be. You can't take our independence like that and enslave us, because that's what it means. The reason why many communities are looking for autonomous communities is because they want to be independent. So let us give it to them that having autonomous community is good, but what do you do with it? What powers do you have? So what we're saying is because the British came and now centralized the government, we lost everything about our autonomy, about how the way we do things, and they come to dictate for us even how to elect somebody that is going to be in charge of custom and tradition. Go low as things that are like that. And the government is interested on who becomes the PG of a town union, who becomes the Igwe or the Eze, because that person has to fall in line with what. So in a democracy, do you really call it a democracy? I don't think so, because democracy means that the people are free. People can contribute. People are free to participate. Have we even raised this discussion? Has it come out in the open as we are talking about now? Maybe we'll be hearing some comments. What do you think that the people want? That's the issue we're talking about. Don't say it is not possible to go back. Who says that? It is only a matter of laws. The traditional leadership we are talking about came as a federal edict. Yeah, you understand me, Charles? So
yes, I'm listening.
Before this time, did we cry to the federal government that we wanted to have Igwes and Ezes? We didn't. The Igbo people did not. It should have originated from them and not from the federal government. So that's the main point that is at stake here, is what is the benefit? What are we getting from it? Instead of having peace in the communities, you have rancor, you have strife, you have even assassinations, people who are vying and wanting to be this and that. And the whole place is destabilized. Going back to what it was, what the British did, they came, as Chino Achebe said, they put a rope on the things that held us together and cut the thing, and we disintegrated, we are no longer at peace. Every community now have strife everywhere. And it seems to be playing to the favor of the government so that they will now have the opportunity to control everything. I'm saying, so what is it that the state government is doing to further tradition and custom? So when you have what do you call it, carnival or something, where is it documented? Who is taking up to see how this tradition? Of course, there are some of them we can say they are outdated. We keep them. Take for instance, killing of twins. You can't bring them back, but there are still very many good other ones. Even the promotion of the Igbo language that is going into extinction. It is actually stated at the UNDP website that in 50 years from now, only 30% of Igbo people would be able to speak the language. Only 30%, 50 years from now.
Only 30%? Only
30%, yes. You think of your grandchildren in the US, 50 years seems very far, but it's not. And when you hear the kind of Igbo they speak, Igbo na as our people say, they can't use proverbs because they don't understand what it is. And that culture is going, when you lose the language, you lose the culture. Because without language, you don't have any culture. We will be discussing something about folk music later in this program, in another edition.
I'm just imagining the type of chaos that would exist between the State House of Assembly. I understand that discussions can be made in townships, in local governments, in the different fora, pushing through their State House of Assembly members in order for these amendments to be made. I'm just wondering if the state government would even allow that happen.
That is not the point, Charles. It is not what the state government wants. If democracy is for the people, if the people want it. I give you an instance in Switzerland. They have, all the cantons in Switzerland are autonomous. They are practicing democracy. They are autonomous. You understand? So there's nothing making the different local governments in or towns in Igbo land to be autonomous, so that they can participate. So the government is not a hegemon that is sitting somewhere and dictating for all the people what they should do. You take it for granted that you know what the people want. You allow the people. That's the point we are making, that when the British came, if it was not through arrogance and that suppression, to look at what the people have and see how they can bring in something in order to add a little to it than to destroy it completely. You know what it means when you come to a community, you appoint somebody on top of them. You disregard the local way of appointing somebody. Because in those days, sometimes it has also to do with religion. That person who is in charge may have some cultural performance that the person is doing. So you just come and then you bring somebody from somewhere and you plant it in the middle of the people and say you take it, or if you don't want. And we saw, I told you about the three Warrant chiefs in what we call the Northern Igbo land. What they did was so terrible. And I told you, see how the three of them ended. It was only Chukwu and Wang who died a natural death. The other two people, Onyama committed suicide, Nwibokobudo was hanged here in the stadium here in Enugu in 1959 because of atrocities. It's like the Igbo people, they knew when you give somebody such power, it will be very difficult. And you go back to what Lord Acton said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Once you give somebody power that there's no check, there's no balance, and the Igbo traditional politics had checks and balances that worked for them. What we'll be looking at, whether it worked for them. So it is not just talking about democracy. So to what extent is our democracy working? Okonkwo was sent to their neighbor to negotiate for one of their daughters that was killed in the stream. So Okonkwo was chosen, but he was not the eldest. Nwaki Ibia was there, Ogbuefi Ezeodo was there, all those big titled men were there. But they were not chosen. Okonkwo was chosen as a brave man, an orator. They knew that when he goes there, he was going to get something for them. Now, what kind of representation do we have? the people that don't even have any connection with the people that are represented, they don't feel what they're feeling. They don't go to consult them. You go to the house, laws are passed. So take for instance, Charles, if I'm in the house and there are several culverts in my town and those culverts are not done, and then I have somebody who is representing that town in the house, tell me, who is the person working for? Yeah, he's not working for his people, he's working for himself and for those who put him there. So the issue of representation is a far cry of what it used to be in Igbo tradition. And when people send you to represent them, you must come back to report, to tell them what you have done over there. Ask them whether they want it. If you act without their consent, you are on your own. Now that you have what you call representation in quotes, the people are representing you, but they don't ask you of your opinion, they don't take into consideration what is affecting you. So our brand of democracy, we need to interrogate it, and the people need to participate, to engage those people who are in the leadership. Right now, they are not engaging them. They have resigned to what I call a philosophy of self-defeatism. You put your hand over your head, you say, oh, sorry, there's nothing can be done. They have imposed a traditional rule on us, there's nothing we can do. But it's not true. We will take up that particular topic another day.
We've been speaking to Reverend Father Dr. Tobe Nnamani, he's the Executive Director at the People's Creative Empowerment International. This organization is a non-profit, non-governmental organization committed to grassroots empowerment of community-based organizations and the general public, which has carried sustained civic education in diverse areas of socio-political aspects in Nigeria. I hope you've been having a fine time listening to the broadcast today. The phone lines are open just in case you want to make comments, you want to ask questions, you also want to raise a few issues regarding what has been said today. The numbers to call 0700-1055-1055. That is 0700-1055-1055. You may also call 0700-1055-0000. That is 0700-1055-0000. Another issue that I'd actually like to bring up is you have stated that it's not even about what the government of the day wants. It's just about what the people really, really, truly want. Do you think that we've had governments or governance that were truly, really about the people? And who's to be blamed in this regard? Is it the people or the government in power that hasn't allowed people really express themselves?
Both the people and the government. And if you have been suppressed for a very long time, you need probably extra energy to be able to come up. So what happened to the Igbo people during the 200 to 300 years of transatlantic slavery, where Igbo land was devastated with slave lords everywhere enslaving people, and the structure was destroyed, and then immediately after that colonialism came in and finally put the nail on the coffin of the remaining structure that remained. And even when they abolished this structure and left, our people came and reintroduced it. So you can see that it may not be so easy for the people, but as we are getting more educated, getting more and more people who have read about what I'm talking about now, and who are seeing that the way our democracy is running is not correct, that it is a democracy of the elite. And most of the other learned people like me and you are also sitting on the fence, because if it is not affecting them directly, they are there. So both the government and the people are responsible for what is happening now. And it is not going to be easy, as I said to you, when you put sugar in somebody's mouth and you want to remove it. So this is like sugar in government house, and they are not going to relinquish it easily. It is only the people who can make them to relinquish it.
All right, let's take this call. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Chris, go ahead.
And then the community got together and found a way to abolish it and make that to be a general title in the community. That is why, if you go to my own town, you see this area at the back of like all and the rest. They abolish it and they return back to the oldest man taking charge of the CEO affairs. And they live in peace. So it's until, like you said, the community are being forced to get their Igbo and the rest now that our people now are forced to go back to it and they get an Igbo. That of which that Igbo died in 1980 or so. And the people were not to take over that position because I believe in the most urgent way of governance within ourselves, especially recognizing the eldest man, and then the way the age groups are being arranged to take control of affairs of the community. And the community are well managed. So it's until recently in this late 90s now that the government of Anambra State now forced every community to have their own thing that my community now that is now have to go for this Igwe. And we know what that costs in my community before they got the stated leader. When the people are not even settled down. So the truth is that the government is using this thing to cause problems in the community. Okay, now see that is the most of Igbo community that what they call the NDU chairman, that's the government chairman. Now they bring in this PG because they see that the NDU now is no longer it's not that the government chairman is no longer working with the interest of the community.
Okay.
It is possible if they want it, if the people in the house, but you have to look at the qualities of the people in the house and who put them there. Are they independent voices that would want to represent what their people want and not the person who put them there? So if it is going to work, it has to come from the grassroots. It has to be a pressure from the people who will say, we don't want this. This was an imposition. As I said, after the war, by 1976, 78, when this happened, the Igbo people did not go to Lagos to say, please give us a king, like the Jews. Remember, the Jews went to ask for a king, and God said, okay, you want a king? I will give you one. And he gave them one, and they saw what it meant. So we didn't ask for this. And the fact that the educated elite and the government is pushing it under our throat, I said it's because it's favoring them, but the people can resist it. Democracy is what the people want, not what the government wants.
All right, let's take this call. Hello.
Good morning.
You're welcome, Apex.
I'm sure you did.
All right.
Amen. No.
Thank you so much for the call. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think he mentioned something that is important. Those who are answering the Igwe abroad, Igwe is in Igbo in Kano or in Meduguri. I don't know how that how it started and what is the meaning of it.
Well, more like looking out for the Igbos who are residents in those areas.
Yeah, but then the Igbos, they come from different places. So you want to come and be their Igwe. You know, so when you have people from Abia, Imo, Anambra, Ebonyi, and all of you meet in one small village in Kano, and then one of them says, I'm now Igwe Igbo in Kano, says Igbo.
Doesn't it champion the interest of Igbo in that law?
Well, I think he can look for some other thing. They have unions, trade unions that the Igbo people had that worked very well before the war. And that was what sustained them in the north.
Right. Let's take this call. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you? Good. Okay, go ahead.
All right, look, I think I really appreciate this topic. I think the first one is that the water is already spoiled from the top. If you look at the Nigerian structure, it's pretty from there. Because if the traditional station is being, brought into play by 1977, they will have independence and issues. So the problem is that we've not allowed the things to work well here. The constitution is the problem. Has it been that the constitution is now brought down, where there is kind of a contribution from everybody, from all the regions, or from all the, sections of the people? We can come up with the standard that we've been colonized. And because we've been colonized, there's a lot of structures we had in place, before now, have worked for us. But currently, the structure we're having now is not working for anybody. Everybody is suffocating. People are feeling bad, tired, disillusioned. Even giving that to the local government, you see the way they become the mission.
So that the Reverend also mentioned a number that you can call to be part of the initiative. All right, Reverend?
Yeah, the number is 080-3637-8803. I repeat, 080-3637-8803.
All right. The organization also has a website you could go to, www.pceinternationalng.org. They're also on Twitter, not Instagram. That's PCE International 2005, PCE International NG on Facebook. YouTube is PCE International. You can watch this particular edition, or even the last week's edition, or any other edition, so to speak, on that platform. PCE International. Even on LinkedIn, that's PCE International 2005 on LinkedIn. You can do them a mail, that's People's Creative Empowerment at gmail.com. That is People's Creative Empowerment at gmail.com. We'd always love to hear from you, Reverend. That's all for today. Have your final take on the program today, 1 minute, and then maybe you can prelude on what we can have next week.
Thank you very much. My final word is that nothing is so static. The aim of this civic education is to educate the populace where the rain started beating us, so that we can know where it will stop. So knowing this past, because the young people who grow up, they think that this has always been in Igbo land. It has not. And we are using this forum to galvanize the people, to make them to start thinking. There's no change that is going to take place unless it begins to germinate in the minds of the people and comes out into discussion as we are talking about it now. Right. So we are not as powerless as we think we are.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Reverend Father Dr. Tobe Nnamani, Executive Director, People's Creative Empowerment International.
So the next week, week 3, day 3, we are going to take up political participation. It's going to be a continuation of this. So what is it that can be done? In what way can our people participate? This is democracy. Don't go and sit down in your room. Do something, join a group, participate, do activities. So that's what we'll be talking about next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're back next week, same time, same station. Charles is my name. Have yourselves a beautiful day just ahead.